Bring it on.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not sure people realize what an amazing guitar player you are. She is an amazing guitar player. And you already mentioned Bob Fripp, and I'm just wondering, we have some ideas of who you're influenced by, guitar playing wise, and I'm just wondering if we're right. So, have at it.
Oh, guitar player wise?
I mean, I'm thinking also like Adrian Belew maybe, and...
It's a whole sphere, like the Crimson team, all people whom I adore, Mark Rebo, obviously the sort of monolithic pantheon of Jimi Hendrix. I mean, that's inimitable. Sister Rosetta Tharpe. There's so many guitar players that I really, 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 really admire. I'm vaguely unstudied in the sense that I never really sat down and learned everybody's parts. I sort of took what knowledge I had and then ran with it with instinct. And I think there's only I like most guitar players. And there are only a couple who I object to on a moral level, who I won't name.
John Mayer.
John Mayer.
I mean, come on,
see him play.
Doesn't hate John Mayer. Like, super easy.
I want him to play with the big feminism background.
Okay, we can have our misandry themed John Mayer unnamed for Halloween tonight. There's so many people with questions.
I've heard in a lot of interviews that the song Severed Crossed Fingers was very emotional for you, and after you recorded it in one take, you were done, and I was wondering if you could talk about that.
Sure. Yeah, Severed Crossed Fingers, that's a song. The original inspiration for the lyric was from a great short story writer called Lori Moore. And I took a number of things from Lori Moore, especially on this record cycle. Like she's the master of writing short stories in second person. Like, you do this, you are this, you are this, and I felt like that, I decided that I was going to speak to the audience on this record cycle in second person, because it felt simultaneously alienating and also really, you could kind of spill your guts and tell a story that's very personal, while leaving room enough in the story to make it seem universal, and people go, "Oh, yes, I did do that. Like, I am a thief and a liar and whatever." So, Lori Moore, there's a great book called Birds of America, and she has a short story wherein she talks about reading an article in the newspaper about a plane going down, and all they found in the wreckage was a severed hand with its fingers crossed. And I just thought, oh, isn't that the perfect way to describe the human condition? You know, hope until the very end, and the sort of grandeur and squalor, I guess. So that song I wrote about someone very close to me, and that idea of kind of holding out hope until the very end, even though you know you're ultimately doomed. And so yeah, that's the only song on the record that was one take, first take, and done.
Hello, just want to say I'm a big fan.
Hi, thanks.
I was reading a while ago about David Bowie, a couple years ago, that he had a really hard time starting off, and he didn't get much successful fame until Space Oddity came out. And I was wondering, was it really hard for you as an artist, and making music, and when was it when you found out that, hey, I'm kind of making it right now?
I think that obviously the goalpost is always moving as an artist. I mean, both artistically and in terms of what you deem as success. But I remember being, I've wanted to do this my whole life, and so I sort of started out doing some very clumsy attempts at it. Like, I pretended to be my own agent. I bought and created a website that was like an agency, and then I pretended to be my own agent to get gigs at places. Well, it sort of worked out until I was, I remember I was playing at a place in Williamsburg before it was sort of built, super built up. And my mom and sisters had come because they're very wonderful and supportive, and they'd come to see my big gig in New York, where they were there were 3 of 5 people there. I mean, it was, and I remember, and it was one of the ones that I had booked using my fake agent alias, and I was mid-song, and someone from the band that was supposed to play after me interrupted me mid-song and was like, hey, you gotta get off the stage because we have to set up. And I was maybe 3 songs into a 6-song set, and I kind of looked around like, what do I do? Is someone gonna come to my defense? Do I just tell this guy to fuck off? I don't know what the deal is. And but instead I was just so humiliated that I just kind of stopped mid-song and skulked off stage and put my guitar away and was humiliated in front of my family. So, the point being that there are a lot of missteps. There are a lot of well-intentioned, terrible ideas, and I think it was probably it was a few years later when I was playing, I joined a band called the Polyphonics 3 and was playing shows and felt like, okay, I have my toe in the game, like I have my foot in the door in doing this thing, and recorded my own, my first solo record, in Pro Tools, largely a bedroom kind of recording, and then because of that got asked to play in Sufjan Stevens' band, and then while I was on tour with Sufjan Stevens, got signed to 4AD or Beggar's Banquet at the time. So it wasn't, I had a lot of lucky kind of things that fell into place, but before that, it had been a lot of years of, I remember showing up to playing in punk rock, like people's houses in New Jersey where you like sleep on the couch and there's ferrets and it's disgusting. You use somebody's toothbrush and you're like, I have AIDS, I don't know, whatever. You're just like swallowing it off. Yeah, it's super raw, and showing up and playing, like accidentally playing at like NA meetings. I don't know. It was a lot of misfires, honestly. And if I'd had either more sense or less fortitude, I wouldn't, be here.
Glad it worked out.
Thanks. You're here with us.
Thank you all so much for all your questions. We have time for just 2 more.
Make them good. Like the